Let's begin with powering up both cabinets. First, we'll start with turning the control circuit switch to the on position. Next, you'll want to start on the power machine. After you hit the start button, it will clear the screws and load the hoppers. Next, we will home the machine. So the 6 shooters are going to find its home limit eye and then move back out of the way. Here we have our main screen. You have your door sizes, 2040, 2340. Up here we have our presets. So at the moment we have 2040. You can add more as you wish. Here we have our hinge settings. You can enable or disable hinge 2. You can also turn off or on the jam kickout. Here we have our procedural patterns. At the moment it's off, but you can choose between 89 and 100 millimeters. Hinge specs can all be added into here. Over here we have our speed. So this controls the speed that the machine will run in. At the moment it's at 100, but you can choose any you'd like. Here we have our auto feed mode. It'll automatically accept the door, and it would automatically push the door out after unclamped. Here we have our feed through mode. At the moment it's disabled, but if it were enabled, it would simply just move the door through the machine. Auto width will automatically size the door for you. Auto unclamp. So that's if you didn't want to physically push the foot pedal, and it would still kick out your jam and feed the door to the next machine. Here we have our back section. So at the moment, the lock bore is at 1020 millimeters, and you can also enable or disable your lock bore, bolt drill, faceplate, and change your back set from 60 to 70. Here we have our stop door sequence. So that'll stop the sequence with the door in place and bring you back to the ready state. Home machine to home it. Here we have our reset machine, which will bring you back to the starting state. And it's also used if a light curtain was broken or say a safety switch was off. And here's our shutdown, and that is simply shut the machine down. Here we have our manual screen. So on this screen, you can jog your carriages, left, right, up, down, out or in, and you can also control the speed that they travel. Here we have our lock location. You can go reverse or forward. And here we have our hinge commands. So you can actually skip a hinge, turn on or off the jam kickout. Here we can open or close our back section. Control our door stop up or down, and clamp or unclamp the door. We can also feed reverse or forward. And here we have our auto feed mode, feed through, auto width, and auto unclamp, just like on the main screen. Here we can force our narrow door fence to stay up or down. Here we can also insert any screws that may be missing. Here we can load screws, clear screws, turn on or off the 6 shooter, air injection to push the screws towards the split shells, and we can also shift the 6 shooters in or out, but the light curtain has to be cleared. Now let's go to our setup screen. So here we have the lock location, in feed and out feed, 2040, 2340, 2040, 2340. And if you were to move the location, you would simply hit this. Positive is right and negative is left. Here we have timers for the top face bore and the bottom face bore. You can also speed up or slow down your faceplate timer. Here we have our feed system timer. So this will control your in-feed door stop and your out-feed door stop times. For example, if your door was not reaching your door stop, you would extend the time and it would clamp up later. So here we have our screw shift offset, which will move the shooter when it's in its in or out position, and that can be calibrated here. Right is positive, left is negative. Here we have our width encoder. So that works off of this number right here. Our width is currently at 893.7 millimeters. So if you wanted to adjust that, you would go positive for a wider door and negative for a narrower door. Down here you'll notice the activate command button. That's actually just for the certified Kval techs. Here we have our single step button. That's actually for your bore drill bit. So that would be for a single step or a 3-step, shaped similar to a Christmas tree. Here we have our hinge setups. So this is hinge number 1. This will move the carriage as a unit, everything together. Counter router, and pre-drill, they can all be individually moved. This is your x-axis. Positive will go right, negative will go left. You have your y-axis, positive is up, negative is down. And you also have your z, which is your depth. So positive will be forward and negative will be back. Here we have our chisel setup. So this is the same concept as the last screen. You have your upper left, upper right, lower left, and lower right chisel. X-axis is horizontal. Positive is right, negative is left. Y-axis, positive is up, negative is down. And the Z is the depth, so positive is forward and negative is back. So we're gonna go back into our hinge setup screen. You would wanna only use this if your hinge location was off, or say you were to replace tooling, more than likely the depth will be off, and that's when you would adjust the Z's. So here we have our pre-drill setup. With this, you'll wanna mic out your hinge, add the numbers accordingly, and it should line up. Here we have our diagnostic screen. So here it'll show you any fault that the machine may have occurred and what state it's in at the moment. We also have a door counter. So the daily can be reset, but the total cannot, and it kind of works like a car's odometer. We also have pressure, main air and screwdriver air. This will match the FRL on the back side of the machine. Here we have our I/O status. So this will tell you which sensors are on or off, including the e-stops. So on top of the 6 shooters, that's where the hoppers will be located. To fill them with screws, you'll want to hit the hoppers loaded on the manual screen. Simply pull back the rubber flap, put your screws in. Then you'll want to make your way back to the Maytag and hit the hoppers loaded again. And it will cycle the screws into the slides. Here we have clear screws, which will plunge the 6 shooters screwdriver bits and clear anything in the way. We have our manual air injection to make sure the screws from the hopper make their way down to the split shells in the 6 shooter. And then we have our shift in for the heads. You'll have to clear your curtain before you hit these. And the shift out. If you're missing screws on your hinges, more than likely there will be a screw still in the 6 shooter. So what you'll want to do is air inject to get it to go down to the split shells and then hit clear screws, just to prevent any screws going into the screw in front of it. If for whatever reason you need to reapply hinges after the cycle, you'll want to highlight the heads that were misfed and then simply hit the hinges loaded button and the heads will come down and reapply. If you have a jam in your hopper assembly, first you'll want to push the screws back, then simply turn your slide valve off, and then you can move the plate freely. Notice on the hoppers there's a jam and door side, so the machine actually will know if the jam is clamped up, only the jam, it'll do only the jam side, and if only a door is clamped up, it'll only do the door side. So here we have our preset 20-40 millimeter door. Our hinge 2 is on. Jam kick out will turn on. We have 89 millimeter hinges. We're gonna run at a speed of 100%. And we're also gonna use our lock bore at 25 millimeters. We're gonna turn on our bolt drill and our faceplate. Here we have a control panel located on head 3. Here, you can use this to choose either left hand, right hand, or auto on the doors. The auto setting will get information from the ON 2012, size up the door in the 990H, and also feed it to the ON 12H2 for it to stagger properly. We have our setting in left hand, because that's what we'll be running today. We can unclamp from here. We also have an e-stop and start sequence when we're ready. I will now turn on my auto feed, which will feed the door in. Go over the right hand door stop, reverse onto the door stop, and automatically clamp up. After your door is in place, you'll want to bring your jam over, set it on the shelf, and slide it to your door stop. Once you're in place, you'll want to hit the jam clamp foot button, and please be mindful of your hand placement as the vertical cylinders will pinch you. Now with your door clamped up and jam clamped up, we'll be ready to apply the hinges onto the 6-shooter. You'll want to make sure that the hinges are secure and flush on the shelf. Now with the door clamped up, jam clamped up, hinges in place, we're ready to start our cycle. And you'll want to come hit the hinges loaded on the light curtain. There's also a button for the hinges loaded on the Maytag. Now that the cycle is complete, we will push down on our door clamp foot pedal, the jam will pop out towards us, and the door will go into the next machine. To properly shut down the machine, you'll want to hit shut down system on your screen. Now that it's safe to turn off the computer, we'll just come to the control circuit and bring it to the off position. After the Maytag is off, you'll want to make sure your electrical cabinets are off. And you'll also want to make sure to turn off your second cabinet.